Good morning, everyone. This is Ifama Odolami. I'm coming to you today because I have really important news to share. So I'm going to wait for people to show up, and then we will get started. We want to talk about the change on the I-485 form. This is really important information that you must know because it's going to affect your submission. So I'm waiting for people to join me. And if you join me, I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram, and I'm on YouTube. So if you join me, please comment in the section where you're joining from. Say hello. And this topic I'm going to talk about is really, really important. It's not the most exciting topic, but it's really important for you to know this. The purpose of this video is, number one, to advise you about the change of forms. It's important for you if you're doing an adjustment of status, if you're here in the United States, that's important for you to know. It's also important to remove the misconceptions about public charge rule. So yes, this may not be the most exciting topic to talk about, but it's really important for you to know this topic and understand what's going on because it does affect your submissions. So good morning, and everyone. For those that do not know me, my name is Ifama Odolami. I'm an immigration attorney from the Odolami Law Firm in New Jersey. My firm serves clients in all 50 states because immigration is federal law, and therefore we can represent clients in all 50 states. It does not matter where you are, we're able to assist you. So today, the topic of today is the new I-485 rule. And I'm not really sure how to use this system because I was thinking of trying to show you the form. I don't know. Let's see. I don't know how to log into the form. So I'm just going to talk about it. So guys, the form I-485, which is also known as the adjustment of status form, that's a form that you file with your other petitions because you want to adjust your status. This is a form that the beneficiary, which is the person who's trying to get an immigration benefit, files. You have to be in the United States to be able to use this form. This is a form I-485. So this form, the edition date is changing. So the current edition date is July 15th, 2022. And the new form, the edition date will be December 23rd, 2022. And why is this important? This is important because if you're going to use the old form, which is the form that ends with July, the form dated with the edition July 15th, 2022, today is the last day you can use it. What this means is your submission must be postmarked today. So if you have the form I-485 with a form edition date of July 15th, 2022, I think that's the date, correct? July 15th, 2022. Today is the last day you can use that form. Your submission must be postmarked today. Now, if you can't submit it today and you're going to submit it after today, then you have to use the new form, which is going to be postmarked. The edition date is December 23rd, 2022. So this is important, guys. You must, otherwise, if you don't comply with this, your form will be returned. And if you have a deadline with regards to your form, that might be a problem. So remember, the edition date, July 15, 2022, must be postmarked today, or you use the next edition, which is December 23rd, 2022. Now, the December 23rd, 2022 form edition cannot be used today. It cannot be mailed today, so you have to use it and mail it starting tomorrow. So I think that's pretty clear. So let me go into a little details as to why the forms changed. So on September 9th, I believe it was, a final rule was made with regards to the public charge rule. So the difference between the old form and the new form is that the new form has questions regarding the public charge rule. I know some of you, if you had immigration issues during the last administration, that public charge rule was a nightmare. It was a way of stopping immigrants from adjusting status by basically imposing all these financial demands, right, on them. They had to check their credit to see if they had good credit. They had to show they were making a certain amount of money. This new public charge rule is not the same as that, right? The new public charge rule is really the same as the public charge rule that has always been in existence. That's the last 20 years, apart from 2016 through, well, 2019 was when that public charge rule under Trump came in. So this current public charge rule that's going into effect starting tomorrow is the same as the ones we've had all along. So now I want to talk about the changes, because there's a lot of misconception about the public charge rule, which makes people, immigrants, afraid to avail themselves of public services, of government services that they need. So let's discuss and first of all identify what public charge is. I'm going to read it because I didn't cram it. So what is public charge? So under the Immigration and Nationality Act, any non-citizen, which is somebody who's trying to become a US citizen, who at the time of the application for either a visa, for admission into the United States, or for adjustment of status, is likely to become a public charge, is inadmissible. So what it is that DHS will determine whether a non-citizen is likely at any time to become a public charge by determining whether they are likely at any time to become primarily dependent on the government for subsistence, as evidenced by the receipt of public cash assistance, for income maintenance, or long-term institutionalization at the government expense. So that's a lot of stuff. So let me break it down. So basically, when you're looking to get a visa to come into the United States, either through consular processing, or whether you're in the United States, or whether you're trying to even get a visitor's visa to come in, the US government wants to make sure that you're not going to come here and become a burden on the taxpayers. They want to make sure you're not going to come here and avail yourself of government services, right? And so what DHS does when they get your application is to check to see if there's any signs that you may become dependent on the government for benefits. So what are the factors that the USCIS looks at? They will look at your age, because the older you are, the more likely it is that you're going to become dependent on the government. You're probably not going to be able to work. So they look at age, they look at disability, or the health of the person who's applying. Is this person somebody who's sickly, that's going to have to, that's going to become dependent on public funds to get treatment and all that, public benefits? They look at that. They also look at family status. What does your family have? Are they able to support you, the intending immigrant? Are they able to support you? Do they have a home where you can stay? Are they making enough money and all that stuff? Then they look at your assets, your resources, and your financial status. What do you have? Do you have money in your bank? Do you have homes and all that stuff? Now they look at your education and skills, right? What are your education? What's your education? Did you graduate high school? Did you go to college? Do you have any specialized skills? Will you be able to come in here and support yourself because you have education and skills, right? Now, they also look at whether or not you've been a recipient, either currently or in the past, of public benefits, right? Are you guys still with me? I didn't say it was going to be exciting, remember? So now they look at all that to determine if they give you this adjustment of status, they approve you for a green card or allow you in, whether there's a risk that you're going to rely on the government, right? And they look at this from a totality of the circumstances. They're very clear about this. It's not one factor that's going to make the determination. So don't be afraid that if you're, say, filing for your parent who's like 80 years old, or that they won't be able to adjust their status. They're going to look at everything in totality. So even if your parent is over 80 and cannot work, but you have a good job and you can support them, that's what comes into that. That's the family status. Maybe the parent who cannot work, who's retired, has resources. They have assets. So they're looking at everything from a totality of the circumstances, right? So now the public benefits that the government wants to be clear, because there's a lot of, I've had this question from a lot of my clients. Can I apply for this? Will this affect my green card? Me getting a green card. My children are receiving this. Will this affect me? So let's go through what the government does not consider when it's making this determination. So it will consider, let me tell you the ones that are not considered a benefit. I think that's a better way to state it, because if you receive cash from the government or certain benefits, that's a problem, right? However, Medicaid benefits are not considered part of the public charge determination as long as it does not include a long-term institutionalization at the government's expense. So what this means is that you can get Medicaid as long as you haven't been institutionalized for a long term, then, and Medicaid paid for it, then you're fine. So regular Medicaid for payment of your medical expenses is fine as long as you haven't been institutionalized for a long time. That word is so long. Institutionalized for a long time at the government's expense. Okay? You guys got that? All right. Another thing that's not considered is WIC, Women, Infant, Children benefits. SNAP, which is the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, right? That's not considered a public benefit. So if you need to apply for your children, please feel free to do so. School breakfast program is not included, okay? Summer food service program is not included, right? Because the government wants to make sure that the people who need the services are getting it. So don't deny yourself these services because you think it's going to affect you being able to become a green card holder, or it's going to affect you being admitted, right? So remember this, applying for SNAP or any of these programs will not affect your ability to remain in the United States or get a green card. And another thing USCIS wants you to know is that if you apply for if you're applying on behalf of somebody else, like your American child, that will not be taken into consideration. The only thing taken into consideration are the applications you make for yourself. All right? I feel like I need to say this one again. The applications you make for your children will not count. Whatever, if it's a benefit like cash benefits that you're like welfare, cash benefits that you're taking on behalf of your children, usually American children, will not count. All right. So the other things that don't count are CHIP benefits, Medicaid funded home and community-based services are not considered. So if you have a family member who's receiving home care at home, being funded by Medicaid, that is not part of it. Okay. And what else? Like I said again, DHS will not consider in public charge determinations benefits received by family members other than the applicant. I want to say this again because this is the question I get all the time. DHS, USCIS will not consider in public charge determinations benefits received by family members other than the applicants. So this is key for people who have US citizen children and are collecting benefits on their behalf. I think I've made that really clear. So let me move on from there. Now, let's talk about long-term institutionalizations, which are considered public charge, which are considered in the public charge determination. Now, being in jail is not part of it. And sporadic stays, you stay for a short period of time, that's not considered part of public charge. And if you have been institutionalized against your will by the government, you can actually proffer that as a defense against public charge, right? So in all of this, the new form, the government is not asking you to provide the evidence, right, of all the information they're asking you for, right? Like if you're subject to the public charger, because the new I-485 on page, I think it's page 13, if I'm not mistaken, question 61, right? That's the new form. Goes in, will first ask you, are you subject to the public charge rule, right? And then if you say yes, then you have to answer more questions. You have to answer questions about, let me see, let me actually read it out because I don't know how to show you my screen. I really need to learn how to do that so that you could have seen the screen, but I'm just going to read it out. So on page 13, so on page 13, on question 61, we'll ask you, are you subject to the public charge ground of inadmissibility? If you say no, you move on, right? And no would apply to people who are applying for VAWA, special immigrant juvenile status, refugees, asylees. Those people are not subject to the public charge rule, right? But if your spouse is applying for you, or you're applying for your parents, or a child, they are subject to the public charge rule. So if you say yes, then they're going to ask you, what is the size of your household? Indicate your annual household income. And the instructions will tell you what a household, it gives you a definition of household. It will ask you to identify the total value of your household assets. And it gives you several options, 0 to $27,000, $27,000 to $52,000. It just breaks it down. Then you put in your information. But remember, you're not supposed to submit proof with this unless they ask you for it. The only proof that the government requests in addition to this document is proof when you say you've been institutionalized against your will in violation of the federal laws. Then you have to provide proof of that. Otherwise, for the rest of this, they're not asking for proof. If they want it, they'll ask you for it. Now, they're going to ask you to identify the total value of your household liabilities, which is your debt. Do you have a mortgage? You have school loans? Do you have car loans? They want you to indicate that. Then they're going to ask you what is the highest degree or level of school you've completed, grades 1 through 11, 12th grade, no diploma, high school diploma, 1 or more years of college, associate's degree, bachelor's degree, master's degree, professional degree, and doctorate degree. And then it wants you to list your certifications, your licenses, your skills obtained either through work experience or and educational certificate. That's really good because even if you don't have a college education and you have skills, that's really helpful. So that's great. Now it will ask you if you've ever received SSI. SSI is considered public charge, supplemental security income. I'll ask you if you've received TANF, which is temporary assistance for needy families, or state, tribal, territorial, or local cash benefit programs. It will ask you if you've received those, and it will ask you if you've ever received, question 68B is, have you ever received long-term institutionalization at government expense? And then you would say that. And then it will ask you if you've received those benefits, put the amount of money that you were given. So that's really the difference between the old I-485 and the new I-485. And the truth of the matter is a lot of people, if you're not a U.S. citizen, you don't really have access to public benefits. So, I don't know. But maybe in some states you do. So that's what they want to find out. And again, remember that it's a totality of the circumstances. So it's not one factor is not going to disqualify you. So if you guys have any questions, shoot and put it in the comment section. And I think that's pretty much everything I wanted to discuss on the public charge rule, because there's a lot of misconceptions about it. Good morning, Sherilyn. How are you? Nice to meet you. Nice for you to join in. So guys, that's it for today. And I know that we're all getting ready for the Christmas season. And for those that don't have family with them, I hope you have somebody to celebrate with. And that will be that, because I don't see any questions. And like I said, although this is not the most exciting topic, it's really important to know what the public charge rule is, so that you make sure that you don't find yourself being, you know, you don't find yourself having to explain why you receive certain benefits that you're not supposed to. So thank you, Lily Gabriels, who says thank you so much for all you're doing. Thank you. Merry Christmas. And let's see, there are questions on Instagram. So let's see. Sasha Gudas Perry says, can you send a case off today and go through it, or is it going to get denied? Sasha, no, it doesn't have anything to do with denying your case. No, that's not. I don't know what your question is, but if basically what I'm saying with this video is, if you're filing a petition that includes an I-485, make sure you're using the right form. That's really what it is today. Make sure you're using the right form. If you're filing the I-485 and you can send it out today, make sure that the edition you're using is July 15, 2022. If you cannot send it off today, then make sure that the edition you're using tomorrow is the one for December 23rd, 2022. That's really it. This has nothing to do with approval or denial of your case. It just means that you want to use the right form so that it doesn't get returned. Because when your case gets returned, it just delays it, and USCIS is so delayed already. You don't want to delay your cases any further. So that's really it. But Sasha, if you have any other questions, call my office. Let's talk about it, okay? So I think that's pretty much it. Okay, I think you got it. So guys, thank you for joining me, and I will be with you guys again soon. All right, take care.